Awesome. Excuse me. So we're live. We're live on today's call. So welcome to Vision and Goals, Level 1, Call 2. And this call is all about reflections, and that's what the call is called, is reflection. So I just want to welcome everybody. I hope you had an awesome 2 weeks. I hope you got to check in with your buddy. I hope you really got to dig into kind of your homework and kind of yourself and your body sensations and all of that. So thank you to the three of you for being on time and with integrity today. I really appreciate that. It should, or it could be a quicker call today because there's only three of us. Usually these calls are scheduled an hour and a half, and there's about 6 of us to 8 of us. So we might get you out early. You can get your day started, but who knows? We might have some great discussion that keeps us a full hour and a half. But as promised, we'll never go past that hour and a half. So kind of how today's call is going to be set out or set up is I'll quickly review the homework just to kind of create some clarity on it, because we'll talk about that when we open up the lines, kind of what we did over the past 2 weeks, and hopefully that will help kind of remove some of our nervousness and whatnot, and then we'll get started. I'll kind of do my preamble on our video and give my insight on it, and then we'll open it up to you guys, and we'll open up sharing your homework. We'll open up share kind of about what we talked about on the call today. So this call could potentially be short, or could potentially long, depending how vulnerable you're willing to be and how, if you're willing to put yourself out there. Some of these calls go very deep into kind of who you are and where you came from. But like I said, with all these calls, it's kind of what you put in is what you get. So I think we'll get started. So kind of what we talked about for your homework was the power of knowing what you want. And you're supposed to do this exercise, and you're kind of supposed to do it with different areas of your life. So because it's all too common that we really focus on what we don't want out of life instead of what we do want in our life. So when you open it up, hopefully we got this done, and we got to do it in few different areas of our life, and you can kind of share the facts, the power of it, kind of what you got out of this exercise. So that'll be the first thing you'll share. The second thing for our homework was really focus on our body triggers, our body sensation, kind of a few different areas of our life that kind of automatically take you below the line. So hopefully you got to dive into that and really tune into those sensations and those reactive listening sorts, and we'll share that. And then we'll get into, hopefully you worked on a few shifts, which you can do with yourself that help you bring from below the line up above the line. I don't know if I shared mine last time, but I have a picture of my nieces on my phone, and right away, if I look at this picture, it's these my 4-year-old niece and my 2-year-old niece, and they're actually have it right here. I don't know if you can see them, but like that's something for me. As soon as I look at this picture and I'm below the line, it's like this brings warmth to my heart. It makes me smile. It brings me back above the line now. So I don't know if I shared that. And then there's also a song that whenever I listen to it, it sounds kind of dumb, but it's 50 Cent, Hate It or Love It, and it reminds me of when I was 17. I got my first car, I had a big sub in the back, and I was driving around Abbotsford thinking I was the coolest kid on planet Earth. And this song just brings me back to that place. It brings those memories up, and that's something for me that brings me above the line. So hopefully you guys got to really dive into something like that, or a few different methods that bring you from below the line back above the line. So that was kind of our homework. So when we do open it up, those are a couple of things that we'll want to share with the group and kind of talk about and give some insight into what worked for you. So kind of for today's call, like we talked about, or like I mentioned, it's a reflections call. And it's all about personal reflection. I know lots of us probably do this as leaders. It's kind of a piece we talk about at Earls, and it's all that we all kind of make mistakes, or we all have inherited a certain legacy from which has come before us. Well, many things in this world can't be undone. What is in our mind can be washed away, as our mind creates past, present, future thoughts. So if we reflect on our past, we'll be able to clear ourselves of all records that have we write off as losses or whatever it may be. So through self-reflection, we can really learn from our mistakes. We can release thoughts and attachments. We can release below-the-line thinkings, and we can increase our enlightenment. And another piece or aspect of self-reflection, which we want to get to, is we want to be able to get to the state of mind which is calm and relaxed, thus allowing us to communicate at a much higher level, really picture ourselves in that chosen future, in that desired future. So that's a big piece of reflection. So a couple of the, I guess, learning objectives for today's call will be we want to be able to create choice from past failures and beliefs, and own one's whole life, not just parts of it. So stuff that has come before us, we can't just push it to the side and ignore it. We're going to really have to come to terms with it and create choice from this instead of reacting to this stuff. We want to recognize and have a clear impact of our legacy that was left by past generations. So like I said, it could be our parents, it could be our grandparents, it could be our environment we grew up in, the school we went to. And we're going to want to remove those roadblocks from our superconscious, because everything we will see will remind us of something from our past, and often a past that was difficult, painful, or fearful. Sorry. And we can either live constantly returning to these places, or we can choose to take ourselves to that place, give ourselves what we're needed there, clear it, complete it, and make new choices. So that's a big piece of what today's about, and it's kind of, I talked about it in the first call, but I just want to reiterate it again. And this is all about above and below the line, and the main purpose of this session is to be able to determine when we go below the line, so that our vision and goals are not set from this place. So like a very basic example, or an example of this is, some of us may set like health goals, and that we want to lose weight because we want to live a healthier lifestyle or more active lifestyle, and that's great. But for some of us, it may be we may be setting the same goal that we want to lose weight, but it may be because someone's told us we're fat or that we're overweight. And if that's the case, that goal will always carry kind of that negative vibration or frequency or effect. It won't be a place of choice. It's going to be a place of reaction for that goal. So that's kind of what it's a basic introduction. So it's important to realize this before our next session, so that our vision and goals can come from a place above the line and a place of choice and responsibility. So now I think I'm just going to discuss the video a little bit, which we already watched. So in this video, Suzanne kind of talked about the 5 main causes of reactive listening, and the first one was doubt. And doubt causes uncertainty and things to seem in question or unlikely, and it's our hesitation to believe. So this might be self-doubt, doubt of the future, doubt of different situations, doubt of different people. So that may be one cause of reactive listening. The second cause is worry, and it causes worry just causes us to be uneasy and anxiety. So what are we worrying about? Why are we worrying about this? And we're going to have to figure this out. And then the third one was unforgiveness, and this is where we won't allow the opportunity for mistakes to be corrected. So this may be past relationships with a boyfriend, a girlfriend that still shows up in our new relationships today, where it's causing us to not forgive ourselves, or not forgive this new person, or not be our best person in this relationship because maybe we were hurt in our past relationship. It could be a relationship with our father or mother. But we're going to have to figure out why we're carrying this unforgiveness and clear ourselves of it. The next one is just fear. And like I said, fear of the unknown, fear of the future, fear of what may happen. And it could be fear of the past. And then judgment. And this is usually judgment of ourselves. And it gives us lack of confidence in the reliability of our motives, personality, and thoughts. Why are we judging ourselves? Where is this judgment coming from? And so we're going to have to figure all this out. And because these things disconnect us. They make us more likely to react, and these things interrupt connection and listening. They create static with our goals. So next, Suzanne kind of talked about ways we can shift from reaction. And kind of how we can shift is we can recognize it, and we can choose to react to that pattern and just choose to stop it. I know this sounds easy. Hey, let's just stop these negative thoughts or negative vibrations or below the line thinking. But for some of us, that's all we need. This may be more surface level stuff, but if we can really understand when we're going below the line and tell ourselves to stop it, or tell us, hey, back above the line, or whatever it may be, that works for some of us. For our other situations, we may have to clarify commitments and get clear of what we're committed to is greater than what we're reacting to. So for lots of us, this may be painting the picture in our head, or writing a story that may not be true. And lots of us, we're just creating stories in our head. We're not having conversations, and we're just kind of creating situations and that may be occurring, but they might not actually be occurring. The next thing is we may need to expose an incorrect belief, and this is something which you're believing which is no longer true about yourself. So this could be something from our past where maybe we were told we're not good enough, or we're overweight, and we're still kind of carrying those thoughts, and we may just need to expose whatever it was and bring it up today and just create clarity. And then the next thing Suzanne talked about was timelining. And timelining is when you're doing all the things you know you do well, but you still don't feel yourself, and it kind of brings you back and you experience yourself at a younger age when you experience stress or trauma. So it's this situations, which I had like on a previous call, was a gentleman who had an alcoholic father who left home at 15, and now their relationship's fine. They've repaired it. The dads went to AA, but whenever he returns home for holidays or whatever it may be, he returns to this house where he had this relationship where his father wasn't great, where he couldn't trust him, where he was constantly being taken advantage of. And whenever he returns to that house, it brings him back to when he was 15 years old, and all those same emotions and feelings come up. And so he has to be able to clear himself from that before he can move on. So that's kind of the important concept of today's calls. And so like I said, we know what we're going to share about. It's going to be kind of the power of knowing what you want, your body triggers and sensations, those things that bring you below the line, and hopefully you have some ways to bring you back above. And then I just want to, let's talk about what's going on in your life, and if there's anything preventing you from being your best self, whether it be like fear, worry, doubt, any of those things that's going to, I guess, inhibit you from creating a goal in the future, a vision 10 years down the road, because that's what next call is about. We're going to really dig into kind of vision and goals, but we're not going to be able to create a vision of our chosen future if there's something that's constraining us, whether it's doubt, fear, whatever it may be. And I can just bring up the example of I want to lose weight, but it's for the wrong reasons. Because someone told me I'm fat, you're never really going to believe in yourself for those reasons. We need to be able to get rid of those, whether incorrect belief or timeline or whatever it may be. So that's it for me. So like we do on all these calls, whoever wants to share first and kind of open it up, we can kind of dig into it. And like I said, if there's anything preventing you right now from becoming your best self or holding you back, let's just talk about it, and hopefully we can clear it today for you and get rid of it. So.
I can go.
Tyson.
So you want us to talk about what's kind of holding us like below the line right now? Like you want us to go over that, or because in our homework I also did like stuff in the circle and outside the circle. What do you kind of want to talk about right now?
Yeah, let's start with our homework. So the inside the circle is the power of knowing what you want. Let's if you want to share about that exercise, kind of what you used it for, how it showed up in your life, and anything positive that came from it, or any thoughts or opinions on it, or anything like that. And then kind of, I think we were supposed to recognize 3 areas of our life where we automatically go below the line. So that could be situations, or it could be certain conversations, or whatever it may be. So if you want to share with that, and then we'll get into kind of today's call.
Okay. Yeah, and this might be going for a lot of people, but inside the circle, you kind of want love, being healthy, positive, joy, laughter. I wrote down family, having excitement, friendship, and then outside, you obviously don't want the stress, you don't want debt, you don't want to be unhealthy, negative. I wrote down drama because when I was younger, there was a lot of drama in my life that that just sinks you, right? And then I also wrote down hate and being sad. So I think that would.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead.
No, you can go.
No, I was
just going to say.
Oh. Go ahead.
You go.
Go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to say what brings me back down to below the line. There is probably some judgment from being, like, again, growing up and stuff like that. There'd be judgment. Through relationships, there was some, I was cheated on a couple times. So there is that. What else? I guess, yeah, doubt, in believing myself. But then when I was going through this, the one thing that what she said is, she said, as simple as this is just stop it. Think about it and just stop it. I've been trying to do that as well. And then also, you just said it as well, expose an incorrect belief that isn't true anymore. I've been also, those are the two that I found that, you know, because again, I do work out, but before when I was younger, when I was working out, it was because like I was big. Like at 19, I think it was 240 pounds, and then I was working out for the wrong reasons, right? And it was just negative, and it wasn't going anywhere. And then finally, I was just did it for myself, and boom, you know, I dropped down to 190, right? So, so yeah, like, and then I don't know. Again, the whole stop thing has been playing more into effect than any of the other three, but yeah, those are the things that probably bring me back. And then I've been really trying to be above the line the last couple of weeks with work and with other things as well. I tend to take in, do a lot in my life. I try and take on doing stuff for charity, working other jobs, working Earls, doing other things for other people instead of worrying about myself and family. So I've been really cutting back. I recently cut back on a couple things, so now I'm mainly just focusing on Earls, and it's turned around for me already. So
good for you, man. So the power of knowing what you want, and I don't think I expressed this to this group. There's great power in this, and using it in different. You use it definitely for the right reasons. You kind of clarified all the general reasons what you want out of your life, which is amazing. So now we're going to start focusing on that. But it's a powerful tool, and I know people have been using it for like certain situations. Like I had my day leader use it for kind of what she wants for her business and her people, and we can use it in so many different areas of our life. So I just want to make sure. I don't think I stressed that last time on our call. I want you guys to keep using this, and you can use it for relationships and what do you want out of relationships and out of your boyfriend, and there's just so many different areas. So it sounds like you're on the right path. And may I just ask, so this is a good example. So you said you've been cheated on. Does this still show up in your relationship today with whether it may be self-doubt or I know for lots of us or for certain people who have been cheated on, there's the jealousy issues now or anything like that? Does that show up?
you know what? It used to really affect me. I'll be honest. There's probably the odd time when the wife goes out with her friends. Some of them are single, right? So you know they attract a bunch of guys, and I know how guys are. Guys want usually one thing, so that crosses my mind. Yeah, it definitely it's played a factor, but at the same time, she's whipped me into shape pretty good, and it's a trust thing. And you know what? I trust her, and yeah, it's gotten a lot better. But before, it was a negative impact in my life for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like getting cheated on the road really dampened me.
Yeah, but it sounds like you've already started to grow with this, but this is something that probably everyone on this call with boyfriends and girlfriends faces, jealousy. And so I just try and tie it to one of the ways we can shift, and it's probably clarifying the commitment. Like, why are we with this person? Do we actually believe they're going to cheat on us? Because if we do believe that, we're probably with the wrong person. But instead of going below the line and creating stories in the back of my head, oh, she's going out and blah, 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 what if this, what if this? We just need to clarify that. We're with this person because we love them, because we trust them. And then hopefully that helps us. So that's clarifying commitment. Hopefully we can, instead of living below the line while they're out with their friends or whatever, we can be back above the line and not have to worry about that kind of stuff. So that's awesome, man. Any other comments? Anything else about kind of the last couple of weeks? It sounds like you're on an awesome path right now, and you're really dialing into who you are, and you're focused. And
yeah, I've been really trying to figure out body triggers as well. I don't know if we're gonna. Do we want to maybe save that for later?
Yeah, no, go ahead right now. You're on. Let's do it.
Yeah. Body triggers, like I said, I've been writing some stuff down. Again, I think we talked about it a little bit last week. Anxiety, I'm getting a lot better with my anxiety. It's just, again, recognizing it. But as soon as you come into, we had to let go of a chef, my head chef at Earl's here 2 weeks ago. So heart palpitations, sweaty palms, tight chest, shoulders, mind racing, and then, you worry about, is this the right decision? All that kind of stuff. So, and then how to, I guess, what was the one question in there? I can't remember.
So there's two.
Happy fulfilled. What makes you happy fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess for happy and fulfilled, it's that pride, the accomplishment, excitement, being proud. It's a warm feeling. So, and there's been some good conversations I've had this week that I felt that excitement, that joy. It's a good thing, but obviously when you let people go, it's always it's never a good time, right? But yeah, you can but then you get really below the line, and then the whole day is just shot. Like after that day, like I'm pretty sure that the rest of the day I was trying to get above the line, but you kept thinking about the conversation you just had. So.
And then I think another question was, is there any areas where you automatically go below the line, which you always go below the line, that you've noticed yet?
Probably right now that I've noticed the most, probably along the lines of, money. I've got some big goals ahead, but then these big goals cost a lot of dollars. So I think then I just go right to the wow, that's a huge number, never going to do it, right? So I'm always trying to be positive and again trying to stop that way of thinking. So right now that's kind of because there's want to build a house. I think I've also mentioned to you guys I'm going to try and purchase full ownership of Earls here in Medicine Hat because it's a franchise. So I'm trying to do that. And yeah, so I got some big lofty goals, but don't have exactly all that kind of money in the back pocket right now. So I think that's what again brings me back down to below the line. So I guess the fear of never getting there maybe. But then again, I'm trying to stop it.
Good for you. And you said you're just a couple years over 30, was it? Or
I am just 30, yeah.
Just 30. Wow, good for you, man. Lots of vision, lots of goals, and sounds like you're doing very well.
Yeah, lots of goals.
Are you excited to write a vision? 10 years in the future?
Yeah. Again, I keep thinking about that as well. It's like, wow, 10 years. But yeah, I am excited.
Good. Awesome. Well, that was awesome insight, and it sounds like you're already using the ways to shift with Stop It, recognizing you're in there. You've exposed some incorrect beliefs and clarifying commitments. So good job, man. You're well on your way.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. Thank you for leading us off. Bravery.
Hey, no problem.
I can go next.
Thanks, Carolina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Good. Okay, so for my circle, a lot of the things are very similar to what Tyson said. So basically, like health and family and stability and security and trust and friendship, basically those things. And then on the outside, it's very similar. I mean, all the things that everybody wants. You don't want any like unhappiness or doubt or like worry or negativity or hate in your life. So those are most of the things I wrote outside of my circle.
Yeah. And by clarifying these, has it helped you in the past 2 weeks, do you think, or is it still kind of in the infant steps, if you want to call it, or is it kind of?
No, it's clarified. Like I basically, to come up with this circle, I kind of looked around at close friends and family and like their relationships with their like husbands and wives, and like I kind of took from that and was like, what do I see there that I don't want, and what are they missing that I do want? And yeah, like I've also been cheated on, so that's also a big thing. Like I don't want that anywhere near my life ever again. So so yeah, it's just establishing that trust even with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
To kind of like build what you want and sticking to it. So yeah, that's been pretty good. I've been like constantly writing new things in as I think about them, so it's not just like a one-time thing. Obviously, I want to have a really good job that I love, because there's nothing worse than like being stuck in something that you don't like for the rest of your life.
Totally.
Yeah. So
have you cut anything out of your life because you've really clarified what you do want?
There isn't really anything in my life that I need to cut out right now. I think I'm doing pretty well. So I don't know. We'll see like further in the future, but right now I think I'm staying pretty true to what I've written down. So that's nice. What was the next thing? The body triggers?
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
should kind of try to notice three areas within our life that constantly or automatically kind of bring us below the line when either we think about it or react about it, or
I'm still having a hard time with that one. I mean, I know my body triggers. I know that the pit in the stomach, the closing off, putting up a wall,
right.
but I haven't really been able to identify specific scenarios that always bring me below the line. It's very just like it depends on the situation, right? I mean, the being cheated on, that would be one thing, obviously, um, but yeah, I've definitely worked through that. It's not really that big of an issue anymore. I'm in a good relationship with the person I trust now, so it's not it's not really a thing that keeps coming up. And that's the only one I can really think of that would
Um,
constantly bring me below the line, but it's not really that big of an issue anymore.
you've kind of worked through it, you've kind
Yeah.
of moved past it,
Yeah.
and how did that process look like? Was it just kind
It
of to stop,
was
or
Yeah,
was
it
it?
was one of those things that I had to just tell myself to stop it because if I kept thinking about it and bringing myself back to that place, it's kind of like just making history happen because happen all over again. Because if you bring yourself back to that place, you're acting in ways that are weird, and it may look like you're attacking someone when you're not really trying to. So yeah, it's just I needed to not do it more for myself than anyone else
Hmm.
because yeah, it's not really healthy to constantly have that image or that thought in the back of your mind and being like, well, this is what's going to happen, and if it happens again, I won't be able to deal with it. But if you trust them enough, then there shouldn't really be an issue, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and kind of a big lots of the like on lots of these calls that I've done, it's always like the relationship trust issues, and we're going
Yeah.
to get into kind of writing that vision. Like we talk about 10 years down the future, and might not necessarily be know the person we're going to be with, but we know what type of
Hmm.
relationship and the love and the family that we want to have. And if
Yeah,
there's any
100%.
Yeah, and if there's anything for any one of us that's still gonna, with these trust issues that hold us back, we're never going to be fully able to kind of achieve that relationship. We're always going to have
Hmm.
those negative thoughts or those negative vibrations attached to it. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
today and the next couple of weeks is before next call, when we really get into vision and goals, is trying to remove any of this stuff that's going to be hold us back. Because if we don't believe it ourselves, we're never going to be able to achieve it. So.
Yeah. And like I've been in a few relationships that I looking back now, I realize that everything that was wrong with it, right? But at the time, it's really difficult to kind of pinpoint what's happening. But yeah, it's easier now because I know what I want and what I don't want in a relationship, so it's pretty good that way. For body triggers of good things, you do feel that like uplifting, no worries kind of thing, and it just feels good. So it's just better to be above the line when you do those things, right? So, and I even thought of like the feeling you get when you get below the line and you react impulsively, and then you end up feeling worse at the end of it because you're like, I made the wrong choice, I have to fix it. So that's even a worse feeling um, at the end of it. So you don't really take away anything from like being impulsive and being below the line.
Yeah, totally, totally agree with that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, I think.
And then when you, I don't know if you've thought about it yet, or maybe you have about kind of your vision and your goals, and we're going to write goals for kind of personal and
Mhm.
health, career and work, and then like family. Is there anything right now that's preventing you from being your best self that you want to talk about that is going to hold these goals back or inhibit us from actually believing that we can achieve them or anything like that?
I don't think there's anything really holding me back. It's more just the sticking to it and working through it. There isn't really like a big like wall that I need to get through. It's more just me making the commitment to work towards it and make it happen.
So just in a personal accountability piece, there's nothing
Exactly.
from
Yeah.
our past though.
Not really. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to force something out of any of us or anything, but
No.
I just want to make sure that we're all clear and ready to go after this call, and we're ready to write this vision and these goals. So.
Yeah.
But you're good. You're good.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go next. Last one, not the next.
How are you, Anna?
I'm good.
How was your 2
So
weeks?
yeah,
Tell us about it.
sorry.
How were your last 2 weeks? Tell us about it.
Honestly, it probably was like the most tough weeks actually, because like on the work at Earl's, it's been really slow, and we in the mall, right? So we never faced this like dramatically changes, because like I don't know what was the reason for it, but we received a couple weeks ago those threats for the mall that they kind of gonna attack us and kill all of us. So it's affect a lot of like everything what's going on in it. Like people, it's empty, and a lot of stress obviously going on, because like we're losing in sales, and doing the schedule, for example, like it's hard to give like provide shifts to everyone, and people getting like frustrating, and people kind of like try and ask you a lot of questions, and sometimes you just don't know what to say, because like it's not my fault, right? And yeah, like doing this homework, it's actually a bit like it was really helpful, but from another side, it's actually bringing a lot of thoughts, and you start thinking a lot. It's easy from one side to say like, oh, I want like friendship and like be healthy and family and love and friends and I don't know, like joy, trust, everything around me. But it's easy, it's harder. Kind of like realize what you actually don't want in your life, because like if you even have it, you need to put it aside, right? So I wrote like I don't want to have fake friends, I don't want to have poverty, I don't want to have illness, lies around me, stress and negative emotions and hate, like everyone else, obviously, like we're all kind of on the same page with it. But what I notice for body triggers, if I have a situation with someone and person just like trying to poking you all over again in the same kind of subject, it's like my mentality, you just have this negative reaction, and you feel like this, like you can feel your blood inside of you, and you just start to be really angry, right? So it's easy sometimes, kind of, I don't know, just walk away and have a break and think about it and kind of like come back with a little like fresh you. But at the same time, you can't do it all the time, right? You can like, you need to find control all over you. So I was trying to work on it, but I'm still kind of in that process, because it's really tough, especially when you feel like when someone poking you all the time, you feel like the person doesn't trust you, right? So like, oh, do this, go there, like, you know what I mean? Like, but you know what you need to do and you know how to react, but people kind of put a lot of pressure on you and they expect a lot of you. So I have a little bit of like scared to fail, right? Like on it. So it's harder work on it, but I don't know.
So why do you think you're reacting this way? I get that like it's kind of annoying when someone's poking you, but is it what do you think it is?
I don't know, just maybe probably like, I don't know, like protection, like don't touch me, you know what I mean? And you have like this anger kind of going on, and you just like, just leave me alone, and you know, I don't know.
And where do you think? But yeah, and have you ever thought where do you think that comes from? Like why is it natural? It sounds like a little bit where it's like an automatic wall that might go up. It seems like.
I thought about it, but like I said, probably because of I know it's a lot of pressure on me. Not even pressure, but expectations and this kind of in that direction, and you kind of scared to fail and disappoint that person. But at the same time, in stressful environment or some like situation, it's easy to react like just like that, just to switch yourself from like positive to negative, like below the line. But at the same time, I realized that you need just to stop, like she said in the video. As far you just catch yourself in that moment and you just stop, and it's kind of like going away. So yeah.
Have you failed before in the past with anything?
Did I fail before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. But it was not a failure kind of at work or like friendship. It was more failure with yourself when you think like, oh yeah, you can do this, this, and that, and something happening, or like even yourself, you change your mind and you're like, oh, I didn't do that. Oh, so it's my bad, not someone else. So you kind of like because of your, I don't know, inner thoughts or something happening. And it has a little bit side of me inside still, like because I made mistake before and like it was only my fault, no one else. So I don't want to do it all over again. I don't want to repeat those, but they still kind of somewhere, somewhere there. But you're trying to kind of like clear them out. So.
Yeah. So this is something I think we call the reflection call, because you're going to have to really dig into this or reflect personally, because if you're going to set this vision and these big goals, and you're always going to have this fear of failure in the back of your head, you're never going to actually be able to fully commit and achieve these. So we got to figure out, or you got to figure out, we got to figure out, we got to reflect and figure out kind of where this self-doubt of failure has come from. Has this ever been like a process of yours? Because I know this might be like, holy shit, now I got to think back kind of my last 20 years of my life and try to figure this out. But
It's now about what? What you said? I have like internet today sucks. Like I'm hearing like really slowly everyone who's talking. Can you say it again with you?
Yeah. So the first thing I said was, so you're going to write this vision in 10 years down the future, and you're going to write these powerful goals. Yeah. It sounds like there's something in the back of your head that's not gonna. There's always going to be a self-doubt piece where if you write this goal, I don't know if you're truly going to believe that you're going to be able to achieve it, because there might be something inside that voice, I'm not good enough, or I might fail, and it's always going to be kind of having a negative thought or vibration, and it's going to be holding you back.
I think it's a fear. It's a little bit of fear, and even when it was a homework, you need to ask your friends to answer some questions, and a couple of my friends, they wrote that I look really confident in myself, but sometimes when I'm facing some situation and when those like not confidence show up, so I just think so because of I have a little bit of fear, and I just need to believe in myself more, and this will kind of like go away. You know what I mean?
So you need to, I think for you, we probably need to expose the incorrect belief of where this fear came from, that someone maybe told you you weren't good enough, or you're telling yourself you're not good enough, but you're probably a different person. You're probably a different leader than you've ever been today. You're probably more wise, whatever has come before, you've learned from it.
Yeah, I don't have that situation that someone told me, oh, like you can't do this. Even more when some of like I don't know, who work with me or just a friend saying, oh, you can't do it. I'm like, oh yeah, watch me, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna show you. And first of all, like myself, that I can do it, and I can just like show you, right? So it's even like motivating me more. But I don't know. I'm still kind of in the process to figure out where it's coming from, you know.
And that's good, and that's okay. And over the next couple of weeks before our third call, make sure there's some deep reflection. Let's try to figure it out where it came from, and you're gonna have to kind of think back. And if you do figure it out over the next couple of weeks, let's have our own hangout, and we can work through it together.
Yeah, sure.
Because our goal is definitely to get clear of anything that has come before us that has negative vibrations or thoughts attached to it, so we can believe and we can actually achieve these desired futures and these desired outcomes. So I think there's something there, and let's just figure it out and work through it once it's landed more with you, maybe. So.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Anna. So yeah, we're at 9:45. Normally, like I said, there's 6 to 8 of us on these calls, so another 3 to 6 people would be sharing for the next 10 minutes each. Would take us that hour and a half. So we're pretty much, unless anyone has anything else on these calls, we're pretty much. I'm just going to wrap up now. So if anyone has any questions, let's ask them. If anyone has any comments, let's make them. But I'm going to quickly review our homework, and this is probably one of the most important pieces of this program. It's like I goal you interview process, and when we talk about it, there's great value in getting an outside perspective on our strengths and abilities. Because we don't know what we bring to the table because we're there. Like, if that makes sense. For example, we probably all have a friend, or it might be us, but who goes to a party and they always have the best time at the parties because they're the life of the party, but they don't know that they're bringing that fun, that atmosphere, that enjoyment to that party. Or if they didn't go to that party, the party's probably not as fun. So they don't know what you bring because you're there. So we're going to do this interview process, and we only have, again, 2 weeks before our next call, and we want you to do 5 interviews. And with these interviews, we want you to do them ideally face-to-face, but minimum over the phone. We don't want you to ask these questions over internet or over email because you lose the true value of emotion through email and messages like that. So try to do these face-to-face. Like I said, there's great value. They're probably going to take 20 to 30 minutes. And make sure we're interviewing people that who know you well, who know your being, who know your depth of being, and know who you are. Because there's some great questions, and some great questions here are giving you some amazing insight. Some of the questions, are, what do you appreciate most about me? What do you wish I would appreciate most about myself? What should I continue to support that allows me to be my best self? Do you notice areas of my life where I experience a loss of power? When am I most inspired? What do you find challenging about me? What is one thing you wish for me in the next 3 years? What is one thing you believe I can master in my lifetime? So these aren't surface level questions. So let's not interview people we've only known for a couple months or whatever interview. Let's interview people who are going to give you great insight, who are going to give you great value with these questions, are going to be able to really help you grow. Like I said, for lots of people on these calls, this is the most their favorite activity, or the most important things. You're going to get great insight into who you are and what you really bring to the table. So we have 2 weeks. You have 5 interviews. Like I said, I'd schedule probably a minimum of half an hour per interview. So let's get started on them right away. And then with this, we're going to discuss next call. We're going to start to get into our vision and goals, and we're going to get to that piece. Over the next couple weeks, I would suggest watching the video again and really thinking, is there anything that's holding us back or that's going to hold us back from writing this great vision and these great goals that might have negative thoughts or attachments to it, just so we can clear those. And if you do think of something, or you kind of think there might be something there, feel free to reach out to me. Send me an email. You can call me at the restaurant. We can schedule a Google Hangout, and I'm more than happy to kind of work through it with you. So I think that's it for the call. Again, thanks for being on time. Thanks for getting the pre-work done. Everyone should. If there's anything ever that you need from me over the next couple of weeks, just like I said, feel free to reach out. And for the buddy system, because there's only 3 of this call, I would suggest maybe the 3 of you schedule a Google Hangout. I think that'd be awesome. You guys could connect for 10 or 15 minutes, quickly touch base, share, catch up with each other. So yeah, that's it for me. Again, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for everything. Let me know if you need anything. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, you 3. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.